Hey YouTube, what's happening? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update on Bitcoin. What we're going to be looking at today is Bitcoin on the 1 week chart. So we're really going to step back and take a peek at this. And some of the bullish things I'm seeing, some of the bearish things I'm seeing. Right now we're getting another nice little push up. We had a bull flag on the 4-hour chart that actually played out. So that's looking nice, guys. We're at $4,082. We're up 1.77% right now. But we are running into some key overhead resistance in some areas here. And that's what I want to get into. I just want to point out the bullish side, the bearish side, and then you guys formulate your own opinion. Remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a person here looking at the charts, studying this stuff, looking at both sides of the angle, and then trying my best to determine which side I think it's going to break to. So what I'm noticing here with Bitcoin, especially on the 1 week chart, guys, we're still up above this 200-day moving average, which is key. We saw very strong support off it. So right here we had a bullish engulfing candle. Do you see this candle? It engulfed this candle here and we got pushed up, but we really haven't done a ton. We've kind of just moved sideways, and this has been a lot of weeks of sideways, guys. So we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost 15 or 16 weeks with not a lot of price action. We're talking about from when we hit that bottom here around that 31.04 or whatever it is. Guys, we have just kind of just slowly been creeping up, very slowly creeping up. You know how Bitcoin can drop. We've seen it $500 to $1,000 in a day, or gain $500 to $1,000 in the day before we have that, pullback or throwback. But what you're seeing here is the last 6 weeks we have been in the positive, we have been in the white, we've been moving up, and we've been having higher closes. But these are very small bars, just so you know. So there is a lot of fight here between the bulls and the bears, and when the bars get very tight and volume starts to drop off, you want to start anticipating a break. Now, to the upside, that would be getting up above this 20 EMA, which is at $4,222. We would want to see a nice close up above that on volume. Now, we have not been up above that, and we've been treating it as basically resistance since, let's see, guys, August of 2018. You can see where we popped up above and then we went back down, but we have not been up above it since that July even. That time. So if we can get up above that and start closing up above that, that would give us then a shot to come up here and test this 50 moving average. Do you see how far and how fast we fell right here? A lot of the times you make that up on the backside, but the first test is really getting up above this 20 EMA, or are we going to see rejection off? And if we see rejection off it, then I would be looking down again at this 200-day moving average to see if we do find support off that. Guys, when price is going up, I know the volume, everyone's been talking about volumes manipulated, this or this, but all we can do is go off the chart. All you can do is look at the volume that's produced on the chart. That's the only thing you can do if you're a trader. So volume is going down at this point. I want you to pay attention to volume going down while the price is going up. Typically when price goes up, you want to see that volume swell a lot of times, okay? So to the downside, we're looking to see if we can hold even where this inverted hammer candle is right here, and that would be around that 35.71. We want to see if we can hold that. Then ultimately it would be this 200-day moving average. But now we're just kind of getting sandwiched in between. We're going to have to see where the close is this week. Right now we're up above last week's close, so that is a good sign, but still you got to look at that volume, guys, and really pay attention to that. And also we do have a death cross that is taking place over top of our heads right now, and that's our 50 moving average crossing down under the 100-day moving average. Okay, so keep that in your back pocket as well. Next thing I wanted to show you was the Stoch RSI. And take a look at this, guys. I don't think I've ever seen it pinned out like this. It's 100 and 100 right now on the Stoch RSI. So that's as high as it can basically get right there. And that's showing that on the weekly, we're definitely going to need some cool down period, and we're going to need some time to retrace a little bit. 6 to 7 weeks or whatever this is, guys, 7 out of 8 weeks here have been in the positive. They haven't been huge weeks like a week like this, but we have been moving up here, 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 weeks. So there is going to be some need for that cooling off period at some point. But, when you play these stochastics, guys, that is extremely overbought in terms of stochastics. I don't know if we've been that high before on this. Let's take a look. So back here, we were pretty close, guys. Yeah, we've actually, right in this area was about the same. Here was the same. Over here was the same. But what happened after each time? We fell down. Right up here, we fell down. here we double topped basically on it and we fell down, and now that's what we're looking for to see if we're going to have that fall back down and see where we're going to find support. You know, the stochastic RSI, it's a very good one to pay attention to, guys. Those momentum oscillators are very important, and you do want to keep your eye on them. So am I saying that we're going to go down right now? No, we may have a little more leg up, and we can see what we do with this 20 EMA. There's still a lot of room to run up to the 20 EMA. That's still over $100 and some, $130, $140 there, you know, to be able to get up through that. So we're going to have to see if we find rejection off that, or if we're going to finally break through that. That's a big one, guys. But it'd be hard to break through when our stochastic is kind of pinned out right now. That's why I said we need some type of pullback at some point. You know, and that's what it is, guys. Sometimes you'll get this nice little pump and then you'll just dump right off. So always pay attention to that. Next thing we're going to go to is our MACD and see how that indicator's looking for Bitcoin here. Alright, so in terms of the MACD, we did get our bullish cross right here, which is a positive thing. So in terms of the MACD, we are bullish right now, guys. We're starting to taper a little bit up at the top here, turning a little bit more neutral, but we are bullish on the MACD, and that's where I said we're in that spot right now where indicators are showing bullish things, indicators are showing bearish things, and it's just kind of that spot of, all right, I need to be patient. I need to wait to see which way this really breaks, and stepping back on that, you know, weekly chart is going to allow you to do that, because each one of these candles is representation of a whole week's worth of trading, and that's really important to pay attention to. Next thing I want to show you guys is the RSI. And now with the RSI, I'm seeing something a little bit interesting here. Now with the RSI, we are moving up. Do you see that's really nice little move here? And the only problem that I'm seeing with that is we're going to run into some strong overhead resistance. And this is where you're going to find it at, right around this area here. And this would be equivalent to that $6,000 range. So there's still more room to run definitely up here on the RSI. But we're going to have to see what we do around that 51 on the RSI and see if we finally break up through that. Because, guys, we fell, we came up here, then we came back down, hit it again, down, hit it again, and then we were moving sideways until we had that drop. And now we're trying to make those higher lows on the RSI, trying to move up. And it is pointing up right now. So, you know, on the RSI at 43, we're going to put that into a little bit more of a neutral camp. We're going to have to see what happens with that. Next one, let's check out our Bollinger Bands. And guys, I'm just one, to be honest with you, I always want to tell you both sides of the situation. And the reason why I want to tell you that is this market can do whatever it wants at any time. You've seen it. It can get so overextended. It can get so oversold. I mean, I saw, what was it, the Bitcoin RSI on the 12-hour chart. I do believe I saw it down at like 9 or 10 before. I mean, these things just can really get overextended either way, to where in traditional trading, or what the book says, is going to be completely different. So that's why you always got to stay on your toes with crypto. Anything can happen. And if someone tells you, you know, this is going to happen for sure, this or that, be very skeptical, because, you know, you got to look at both sides, the upside, the downside, and the sideways. Now, in terms of the Bollinger Bands, we are up above this middle band that we're trying to hold as support. So that's a good thing. We want to see that. The bands are starting to get tighter, so that means at some point here we're going to either have that break to the upside or the downside. With Bollinger Bands, when they get very, very tight like that, you're waiting for a break. It's not going to tell you which way it's going to break, but you're waiting for that break. And when you see that break, if you see it on good, solid volume, that's when you would want to jump in, and you want to be able to ride it in either direction. Okay? So next thing I want to do, we're actually going to move into the one-day chart now. We're going to drop down. So we went from our 1 week. Let's go to the 1 day, see what's happening on the 1 day. It looks like we got a little more volume that came in, which is a good thing. All right, just give me a second here, guys. I really want to take a look at this for you. So bullish-wise, we're up above that 20 EMA on the day. We're up above the 50 on the day, and we're up above the 100 on the day. And we did get that golden cross to the 50 over top of the 100. So that's a good thing. We are still below this 200-day moving average, which is our long-term investor moving average that we want to pay very close attention to. It's a tough one to get up over top. So we're going to have to watch that as the days to come. But what I'm seeing here, guys, there is a lot of overhead resistance in this chop pattern here. I mean, you're looking over here, we had a doji candle. Look at all these wicks here, so profit taking here. This is a very good shooting star candle, and remember, that shows a lot of times you're going to get pushed to the downside. You see all that profit taking that happened here. We had tweezer tops here. We had another doji candle here with a lot of wicks. Up here we had some more wicks, and now what we have to wait and see, guys, if we're going to be able to get up through this whole area. In this area, what I do here is draw a box, and this is the main spot for us that we really want to see us get over, if we are to do it. So like right in that range. Okay, so that's strong overhead resistance. I'm not saying we can't get through it, but it's something that you really want to keep your eye on when we've seen rejection once, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're coming up to see if we can finally break through that, which we do have some good things here, guys. We're up above all these moving averages like I pointed out, and in this case over here, in this case over here, we were not up above the 50 moving average. You know, we first got over at this area here, and then we actually fell back below it, and then we broke up again, and then we came back, and now we have not truly back tested this 50 really well either to see if we do, or the 100 to get a really nice bounce off that to potentially move higher. Remember, markets, they're like a human being. They have to breathe, guys, and that's what all my books say, is the simple fact that, you know, when you make a move up, you're going to have that retracement. Same when you make a move down, you're going to have that reaction. And those are the things that I want to keep my eye on. A trend line that I'm keeping my eye on as well, from this bullish engulfing candle right down in here. So there's a trend line we can pay attention to, and we'll just go off the wicks here, guys. Let me check this for you. Okay, so right here, this purple trend line, we're going to want to see if we continue the uptrend off that. And also what I had drawn for quite a while now, we're finally breaking out of this little symmetrical triangle. So what I had for you all, and I had left this up for a while until I went to the 1 week, so we'll go off the wicks there. Let's see. So it was this area right in here. And remember, symmetrical triangles, they can break either way, but more traditionally, they will want to break with the trend. Okay? Alright, so we'll just call that our symmetrical triangle right now, guys. We won't get too crazy with it. But with symmetrical triangle, you're going to have those lower highs and higher lows that are coming in. So we've been defending this down here. We haven't even back tested it since, let's see, February 8th. Now, we're up above this, but traditionally when you do break out, so we're going to look for that close today. If we break and close above this trend line, when you break out of these things, they want to be accompanied by very large volume. I can't emphasize the very large volume enough. You want to see strong volume coming out of there. You don't want to see a candle coming up here and volumes tailing off and all that. So that's something that you want to keep your eye on. But today, right now, at this very moment, we are up above it. We're up 1.59%, so we're going to have to see if we do get some continued follow-through, guys. All right? And that's a big deal that we are trying at least to get up above that. You know, we didn't see just swift rejection. Like right here, we saw that rejection by those two tweezer tops, and then we got pushed to the downside. So that's something exciting. The next thing we're going to look at is the stock. I want to see what it looks like on the 1 day. Now, on the 1 day, it's looking like we do have a little more room to run here, guys. So on the 1 day, we're at 73 and 48, so we definitely could run a little bit harder. We got that bullish cross right here, and now we're just pushing up. So like we talked about, is it going to be one of those things where we pump up a little bit in the short term and then we see one of those big dumps? I don't know, but a storm is brewing. I can tell you that. Things have been pretty calm for quite a while now for all this time here, and eventually we're going to start to have those breaks, those very strong breaks to either the upside or the downside, but it's just being patient. You know, if we throw the Bollinger Bands even on the 1 day, I'm sure they're pretty tight here. Let's take a look. So Bollinger Bands, actually, guys, we're outside of the Bollinger Bands right now. And traditionally, when you get outside, like you saw here, you'll have that sell-off a lot of times back to the middle band or even back to the bottom part. So keep that in mind. On the Bollinger Bands, we are a little overextended right now. Okay? So keep that in mind, unless this is just that break and we're just really going to break hard out of here. But that's something that I want to keep my eye on, that we are outside of those Bollinger Bands. And that's kind of that warning. You know, when you get down low in them here, that's when you want to buy. Down in here, you see how we rode it for a while, and then we got pushed up. But typically when you wick out of that or get pushed out of it, then you'll start to come back and you'll start testing that middle band. But this area has been so tight. And with this area being so tight like it is, it truly could go in either direction. So the calm's here, guys. The storm will be coming at some point, I promise you. It'll be one of those things where you just go to bed or whatever, you wake up and wow, Bitcoin's up, you know, 12% or 15%, or it's down 15%. All those things happen. They happen all the time, and you really have to keep your eye on these things and pay very close attention to all the oscillators, pay attention to the candle closes, that type of stuff. So right here, guys, it looks like we're trying to attempt to get up a little bit more here on the RSI. Our RSI in the 1 day is at 64, so that's nice and strong. That's healthy. Just been moving sideways. Overhead, we would be looking at around that 65 is overhead resistance. Then we would be looking at this area at 77 on the RSI for overhead resistance. And remember, I like to play RSIs like that line graph. I think that's one of the best things that you can do. Treat it like a line graph, draw support, resistance, all the like, guys. That's what I like to do. So I just wanted to give you this quick update on Bitcoin. Right now we're at $4,077. Remember, on the upside we were looking at that weekly 20 EMA. On the downside, we're wanting to be able to hold around that $3,500, $3,600 range. You know, guys, and that would coincide even like this 3,700 where we had that bullish engulfing candle. We want to see that hold. We want to see our 50 moving average hold, which is around that 3,840, because we're finally up above it and we don't want to give that up. So those are the things I'm looking for on the upside, guys. There, if we can get through this area here, all this stuff, there's a lot of room to run because of how far and how fast we ended up falling. You know, this drop was an extreme drop, and now what we're trying to do is make it up on the backside, but we've really just been moving sideways for quite a while now. So these are things I'm seeing, guys. There's a lot of bullish things that we're seeing. There's a lot of bearish things that we're seeing. There's neutral things that we're seeing. We need to be patient. We need to wait for the break, see if it's a true break, if it's not a false breakout, and we have to move forward from there. That's the only thing that you can do. You know, you're not a market maker. I'm not a market maker. We're not able to control this market. They're the ones who make the market. So God bless you all, my friends. Take care.